Hello everyone, my name is Incoherence, and welcome to Showcase, the series in which I buy the shit so you don't have to. This afternoon we are going to be looking at Loop Hero, which as far as I can tell is going to be one of 2021's breakout indie hits, and for good reason. I am addicted to this game. I gotta tell you, I've been playing the absolute shit out of this game because it is a lot of fun. Now, in terms of story, it's difficult to describe. I haven't gotten that far myself, but in essence, your character is the chosen one. Isn't that how it always goes? But he has to save the world from an all-consuming nothingness. No one can remember anything about the world except for him. It is up to him to remember how it was and put it as it was. Now, in terms of gameplay, it is so difficult to describe. It is part RPG, it is part deck builder, it's part strategy, it's part auto battler, and you know what? It's all of these things crammed into one in a most interesting, simple yet complex way, alright? And I can't really describe it much more than that, so I'm just gonna have to show you. So this is the main space of the game. You're gonna spend most of the game in this screen on expeditions. This is the second expedition of this particular campaign, which doesn't really mean anything to you right now, but all you need to know is that the world, there's something going on with the universe, and our character, our little warrior here, this little pixelated guy here, he is the chosen one who is going to return peace, well, basically return the world, full stop. And he is currently trapped on this loop, and if I unpause the game, he is going to automatically move along the loop. He's going to automatically attack this slime. He is going to automatically loot some items here. So we've got an axe and a sword, which is worse, actually slightly better than our current axe. I'm going to throw that on right now. And once again, our character is going to slay another slime who has dropped a card. So once you destroy enemies, they drop equipment for you, and they also drop cards. And the entire point of this is to place these cards along your loop in order to make it more difficult, and in doing so, you get better loot. So it's really a game of finding a balance between difficulty and loot. It's a risk-reward situation. So I have added a vampire mansion, and this vampire mansion means that now vampires have been added to all of the tiles along this loop. I've also got a spider cocoon, which I'm going to drop in this little nook here. I've got a second one, which I'm going to drop in this nook here, and also a meadow, which we're going to hold on to for now, and a battlefield. So you can read on the right here what all of these cards do, okay? But all you need to know for the time being is that we've just dropped down a battlefield, and this is going to spawn a chest once we start a new loop, which we have just done. All right, so once we get back to our camp, we have the option to retreat and return to our town, but we're going to forge onwards. It also heals your character, which is important to note. So I've placed this battlefield directly after the camp because the loop level, the second loop, which we've just begun, actually determines what level of loot we're going to get, so it's most beneficial to get chests at the beginning of the loop. Alright, so we've just looted this vampiric armor. We're going to throw that on, no question. We have a polearm, we're going to throw that on, no question. Great. Okay, so why are we on the loop? What is the purpose? Well, we're trying to collect these resources. Alright, so we've now got 4 stable branches. Once we collect enough of those, they'll turn into stable wood, and there's stone, there's all sorts of resources that we need to collect, which we bring back to our town to build buildings, which unlock new cards, which we then use to improve our loop. Okay, so we're bare bones, we have the basic deck right now, and one of the cards in this basic deck is the Grove, which spawns a rat wolf every 2 days on an adjacent tile. Okay, what is a day? Well, as we move around the loop, time progresses. At the end of the day, all sorts of things occur. New enemies are spawned. We can get healed if we place these meadows, so on and so forth. Speaking of the meadows, I've just received a rock, which will increase our max HP, and if we're strategic about it and we build a 9x9 square of rocks and or mountains, something fantastic will happen. For the time being, I'm going to hold on to the meadows. I don't necessarily need the healing right now, but there's some good opportunities to place those down later on in this expedition. Okay, so we're killing another vampire, and our loot is pretty minimal so far. We're not getting anything extraordinary. Just as I say that, we pick up a new ring, which will increase our health regeneration. I'm gonna say, I think these stats are pretty self-explanatory. I'm not really gonna spend a lot of time dwelling on that, but we've just begun loop 3, and most of the loot we have, and the loot we have equipped, half of the loot we have equipped is level 1, so it's getting a little dicey. We want to stay on top of this. Preferably we would have, you know, level 4 loot if we're going into loop 3 or so on and so forth. I'm going to not equip the vampirism right now. We're doing fine for health. I think we need a little bit more damage, a little bit more defense. There we go. Okay, so essentially we're just going to stay on this loop. We're going to keep moving forward until we either decide to retreat with all of the resources we have, or alternatively, this bar up here, once this becomes filled, then the level boss spawns on our camp tile. And the way we fill this bar is by placing cards. So one mountain slightly affected the bar. We can throw a meadow down behind this battlefield. Bang. Okay, so it's moved it ever so slightly again. So the reason that one might want to retreat rather than continue is because if you die, you only take 30% of the resources with you back to the camp. If I were to retreat now, I would take 60%. If I were to retreat on the camp tile itself, I retrieve 100%. So there's a bit of, again, the risk and reward is there. Do I continue forward to save that 40%? Do I want to risk a boss battle and lose 70% of my material? Hard to say. So far, we're doing pretty well. There's not a lot of danger in the first couple loops. It's not until you get to tiles like this, where you have 4 enemies with a vampire spawning on top of it, that it becomes an issue. Look at this. Our health is going to dwindle now, but we are getting the counters in there from our 13% here. Counters seem to be free attacks in essence. The more enemies you fight, the more attacks get thrown at you. There's a higher chance that you would counter any number of them. So I find that large group battles, counter, and vampirism all work together, like along with damage to all, vampirism, counter, with large group battles. These all work to our advantage. Now, we are picking up a lot of meadows and not a lot of nothing that I would usually place them by. I am going to try to start placing them because if I don't place any of these cards, my hand will get full, and eventually these cards at the end will start to get turned into resources. Likewise with the items here, they collect and they go in a snake-like fashion, and once they come off this last square here, they turn into these pieces of scrap metal. And all of this stuff is relevant to building up our town, which I will show you later. For the time being, let's see, we have a level 3 piece of armor with 9% evasion. I'm going to throw that on because I want our max health to grow. Now, we're going to collect another chest here. Hopefully it doesn't turn into a mimic. Yeah, these chests have a chance of turning into mimics and just fucking your entire day up. Look at this. We have a much better shield now. Throw that right the fuck on. And we're going to fight a spider or two, counter their dumbasses, and collect some rocks. Okay. So, when it comes to deck building, it really depends on where you are in your campaign, because as the campaign progresses, you unlock and build new buildings, which unlock new... sometimes they unlock entirely new features, which hopefully I'll show you later. They unlock entirely new classes, and different classes have different strengths, so these spider cocoons spawn weak but numerous spiders, as do these groves. and that plays to the strengths of some classes rather than others. So the deck building really isn't integral to the game at the beginning, but it becomes more and more so as the campaign progresses. Man, okay, we just got a level 4 scimitar, high attack speed, high counter, throw that right on. Boom, there we go. We are two-shotting these spiders now. A ring with damage to all 5. I'm gonna collect that because that effectively increases our single target damage by 5, but then we're also spreading it around. Okay, again, our hand is getting a little full. We have a new card, the Cemetery, and I'm going to put that right before our camp. Man, okay, the Cemetery allows us to collect stone, but it also spawns skeletons, and skeletons hit extremely hard. So I'm putting it before the camp, so if, you know, we suffer damage, we'll heal it shortly after. Okay, well, look at that. We just burned up a meadow, and we burned up a second one. Shit. And we've received some memory fragments. I have yet to find out what these are useful for. I'm sure there's an advanced building that requires this, but I have yet to interact with it. Okay, we have unlocked a beacon. And now the beacon will increase our movement speed along the loop, but it also increases the attack speed of myself and the enemies. So essentially what this means is we can cram more days into each loop, which increases the spawn rate of our enemies, but it also means that, like I say, we move faster. So again, it's like you're spawning more enemies, but you're adding more loops to your time. It's interesting. There's all sorts of interplays between all of these cards. Now, again, we're not finding any good places to put these meadows. Usually you want to place them next to other cards that you've already placed, because then it will turn into a blooming meadow as opposed to a meadow, which heals 2 HP at the start of each day versus 3 HP at the start of each day. So again, cramming more days into each loop means that the meadows will give you more health, and it looks like we're not keeping up with the damage we're receiving per loop. We are slowly losing health. We're at about half health at the moment. There we go. We finally picked up a treasury. Okay, so I want it far enough away from our mountains and rocks so that it won't interfere. Something like that. Okay, so the treasury. That allows us to place tiles next to it, and once we place a tile next to it, we get resources based on what we placed. And I find good synergy between the treasuries and the meadows, as the meadows are now healing us for 3 HP, we're getting resources, and ultimately once you build all 9 squares around a treasury, you open the treasury, you get more resources, you get loot, so on and so forth. So we'll build that for the time being, and then we'll also place a spider cocoon here. I like to place spider cocoons where there's access to multiple tiles, so that the spiders aren't all, you know, spawning on one tile. We're not fighting 4 at once all the time. Okay, we've got another battlefield. I'm going to place it down here. We're going to get a second chest, and we're also going to place a mountain. Okay. Oh shit. Okay, so we've placed one more mountain tile, which has spawned a goblin camp, and the goblins are kind of annoying. There's a lot of them, they attack very fast, and they hit pretty hard. So we need to gear up before we get down there. I'm going to place another beacon right by our camp. Bang. We have yet to fight a skeleton, interestingly enough. Okay, so as far as the risk versus reward right now, I think we're getting a little too risky. We don't have enough loot to continue ramping up the difficulty, so I'm not going to be placing any cards for the time being. We really need to wait until we get some better loot. Look at that, another cemetery, another meadow. I suppose, you know what, we'll place the meadow. We'll place 2 meadows. And this rock. Okay, so that battlefield has a bit of an aura to it. What happens here is 20% chance that once I slay these spiders, they'll turn into ghost spiders, which is the most terrifying fucking thing I've ever heard of. Spiders are, you know, pretty creepy to begin with, but can you imagine a ghost spider? A nest of ghostly spiders and ghostly spider babies? Yikes. Okay, here we go. We've got our goblin leader. He's alone for the time being, which is kind of how we prefer to have our goblin leaders. He died. He dropped a grove, which we could probably throw down because they're not too difficult for the time being. We can, of course, buff these groves with additional cards later on in the campaign, but they're pretty easy for now. What have we got? We've got a new polearm. We have a rapier, which has some vampirism to it. We have a shield, which has some counter to it. So most of these items have implicit values, and you will learn which item has which value. For example, these rapiers always have some form of vampirism. These shields with the cutout always have some form of counter, and these polearms always have some form of defense. So for the first couple loops, you can get away with having a mishmash of items, but as time goes on, you really want to create a build. You want to double down on specific items. And truthfully, because we don't have any cards, we really only have, you know, 2 or 3 ways to get health back. And the primary ones are vampirism and regen per second. And I think I prefer vampirism. We are going to probably stick with the current shield we have for the time being. And hope that we find some more vampiric items. Hopefully. So, you know what, I'm going to hold on to that meadow. I'm going to throw down some more groves, get some more rat wolves. So you really need to be able to, you need to be able to build your character on the fly depending on what drops, because none of these items are retained when you go and create a new expedition. In fact, nothing is retained when you go on a new expedition. The map is new, you have a whole new hand of cards. Like I say, you don't retain the items, so you're basically starting from scratch every single expedition. So it's roguelike in that way. You could have a really, really good expedition where you got lucky, you got the right items, you built the right build, and now you're ready to take on the boss. Other times, you start an expedition and you're dead by like loop 3 because you haven't dropped any items. You haven't dropped any weapons. It's pretty horrible, but it's interesting in that way. It's that scratching that roguelike itch. Okay, once we finish this battle, we will drop another rock. Look at that, our map completion bar is almost halfway full. Alright, once we place this rock, something amazing is going to happen. Boom! We've created a mountain peak, which gives us additional max HP, but it also spawns harpies every 2 days. So, once again, we've made our expedition a little bit harder, but I'm hoping that we will be able to survive until that becomes an issue. Which, you know what, looking at it, is actually in question because we're only at 160 health. Putting on this vampiric armor is going to increase our max health. It's going to increase our vampirism. We're at 24%, which is, in my view, not enough. Not enough. We want to be in the, you know, low 30s, low 40s to sustain where we're at right now. Like, look at that. We're taking damage. We're still at 160, 190, 190. Okay, see, this is where we need to start looking at, is it possible to continue this expedition, or should we look at retreating? Tough to say. We are very nearly back to the camp as well. Yeah, I think with our current setup, we're probably not going to be able to sustain another loop. Look at how little damage we're doing. Man. I guess we are two-shotting these spiders, but we just don't have enough enough DPS to overcome these mobs. Okay, we're going to place this mountain, and in fact, we're going to finish this expedition right now. We're going to try and kill this skeleton. Oh, look at that. He's hitting for 40 HP. Holy shit. One last slime. And we actually, you know what? We've just found a vampiric shield, which does not have enough vampirism to make it worthwhile. Okay, so we've just finished our loop. We only have 300 health. I don't think with our current loadout and the loop that we've built that we can continue with this expedition. So I am going to retreat. We're going to keep all of these resources, which we can then use to build buildings. And what we're going to do now is we are going to cut away, and I'm going to show you a campaign that's much further down the road. All right, I'll see you in just a moment. So this is another save file I have where I've built quite a few buildings in our town. All right. So to begin with, we start with the campfire, which represents our cozy camp on our loop, restoring 30% of our HP when we enter the tile. Why is it 30 rather than 20%? Well, that's because I have built a field kitchen. There it is. Which has added healing power to our campfire. Now I've also built a smithy, which gives us basic gear when we begin. I've built an herbalist hut, which unlocks potions. It's another game mechanic. I've unlocked the gymnasium, I've built the gymnasium rather, that unlocks experience points and skill trees. So it's interesting in that as you progress through the campaign and you build these buildings, you add more complexity to the game. It's pretty interesting. I don't actually have the ability to build anything at the moment, so I need to go on another expedition. Like so. And I've also moved on to Chapter 2. I've unlocked new cards for the deck, so I have, for example, these wheat fields, these villages, these chrono crystals, blood groves, rather. These are all new to you, and I'm going to add them to the deck. Unfortunately, I have one card too many for this deck, so I think I'm going to remove. What would I like to remove here? See, here's the issue. I want to keep the chrono crystals. This doubles the effects of a day's passing on adjacent tiles, so this is really useful in combination with meadows, more healing per day. I want to keep the battlefield for the chests. I want to keep the treasury for the resources, the beacon for the speed. I think I am going to drop out maybe the cemetery for this run. Okay, we're going to start a whole new loop with the warrior class with this current deck. I should mention I've also unlocked the rogue. I haven't mastered the rogue yet. I think you need different cards to synergize with this class, which I don't have yet because I haven't built the buildings. So we're going to stick with the warrior. And Shazam, we've generated a new loop. Because of our smithy, we've started with basic equipment. And here we go. Some more slimes being slaughtered. Okay, we've immediately received a treasury, which is helpful. We've immediately received some mountains. I am going to put this down in the bottom left. I want the treasury here. I'm going to put some meadows down. If we get some chrono crystals, we can place them either side, double up the effect of these meadows. And this is where the strategy comes in. Amazing. There's so many layers to this game. It's simple to pick up, but it just gets more complex and more complex as you go. Now, if I remember correctly, this game actually began as an entry in the 2019 Ludum Dare. If you are not familiar with what that is, it's basically a competition where small development teams get together and they create games as quickly as they can. They create all the music, all the art on site. I think it's within 48 hours. And weirdly enough, somehow FourQuarters came up with the skeleton for this game then, and they've just polished it for the past 2 years. Amazing. Okay, what have we got? We've got some chrono crystals, which we're going to throw by our treasury and our meadows, and boom, we've immediately got up to 15 health per day. And we've also unlocked a village. Now, villages, if I were to place them anywhere on the loop, it would give me 20 health points when we enter, and it would also give me a quest, meaning it'll mark a creature on the loop. Once we kill them, we get an item from the village. Alternatively, I can place the village next to the vampire mansion and create a ransacked village. Another synergy here. Now, this creates a pretty difficult mob fight, but it also means 3 loops from now we're going to have an extremely powerful village here that's going to heal us for, I think it's like 120 health, which we can then supplement with the wheat fields, which we've just added to the deck. Oh my god. Okay, we are now in Chapter 2, which means our basic enemies like vampires and slimes have new abilities. For example, slimes now have corrosive structure, which lowers our defense every time they attack, which is pretty brutal. Okay, we have now received another grove. I'm going to build a forest down here, and then we're going to build a village that will lead into the forest, and because this is the second village tile we've added, we've now created a bandit camp. This one time at bandit camp, Jesus, the bandits aren't so bad, but it's just another risky tile you have to deal with when you build your loop. Okay, we've got a level 2 axe, which is going to double our damage output. There it is. Man, Swarm of Bats. This is a new ability from the vampires as well, with the ability Repellent Squeak. So this is affecting the ghouls as well as myself, interestingly enough. 10% chance hit won't happen. Interesting. So that's actually... that's lowering the chance that I'm going to take damage as well. What a weird synergy there. Okay, we're going to build another village. I think we'll put it on the other side of this grove, because eventually I want to build this out where this is going to be loot central, alright? And we're going to build our peak again, increasing our max health. And damn, okay, so that was a pretty good first loop. We've already got a couple villages giving us health. We've got the Chrono Crystal down on our meadows, giving us health. We've got a treasury well on the way to being unlocked. Yeah, you know what, I'm much happier with how this one is going. And we're going to continue to fight some slimes. We're going to equip this armor. And, okay, I should point out that we are slowly gaining experience here as well. And eventually we're going to be able to put a point into a trait, which is going to affect our loop. We've also unlocked potions because of the herbalist, meaning that once our health gets down to this little blue indicator here, we're going to pop a potion, heal 4% of our health back, and we can, you know, upgrade that in the camp if we so desire. Okay, we're hitting the groves now. Unfortunately, we have yet to upgrade our grove, so it's pretty much just trash central at the moment. Damn, we can like triple our health by adding this armor. We're gonna do so. Another beacon. We're gonna place this beacon here, which is going to partially construct our treasury. It did remove a square from the Chrono Crystal. Unfortunately, I didn't really think of that. We're going to place a wheat field next to our vampire's village. A wheat field is going to increase our healing we receive from the village, and I think that adds, there's additional health per loop or something. I can't recall how it works. Oh my god. I forgot. The rat dogs now do bleed damage. Okay, we're going into Village 2. We've received some health and a new quest. So the slime we're about to fight is a quest target, meaning it has 200% health. Motherfucker. This is a tough fucking slime. It's just eating a bunch of rocks and gravel. I'm sure it's eating someone's child as well, that's why there's a quest. But he was no fucking match for me, the loop hero. The loopiest hero. And there we go. The ringing in ears just triggered. We were unable to attack there. And bam, we have unlocked some more rocks. Another mountain, another beacon, which we're going to throw right here, and another meadow. Okay, I've got another vampire mansion. Do I want to Do I want to ransack another village? You know what? Let's... Ah, shit. What do we want to do here? This is a tough one. Let's ransack village number 1. Oh, which failed my quest, of course. Who am I going to turn the quest back into? Fucking zombies? Ghouls? Hey, I avenged your child. Of course, no one remembers who that child was. Okay, you know what? Because this is chapter 2, I am getting new remains, or sorry, new resources that I'm not familiar with. Shapeless mass, no idea what that is. Pitiful remains, no idea what use that is. Okay, let's kill these last 2 ghouls. Fuck, these ghouls are eating the corpses and restoring their health. Very fucking annoying. Alright, we've got one super goddamn ghoul here. And he's pretty tough. I mean, he's not hitting us for a lot, but he's absorbing a lot of health. He's tanking it. Take it! Okay, we've slain him. Quest is done. We've received another orb of expansion, whatever the fuck that's for. And we are now able to pick a new trait. Okay, so if we choose this, that means we need to pick up counter items, which is a really... I've had a lot of success with this build in the past. If we take this, that increases our damage for every potion, which means we need to take damage. I'm not a fan of that. Card sharp, 10% chance to keep the card after placing its tile. That, to me, is not very good, because cards are plentiful. I have yet to see why that would be useful. Therefore, I'm going to take Buckler, and we're going to try and find some items that encourage counter. None of which we have, but I think we're going to keep the items we have. We're going to place another wheat field outside Village 2, increase our HP gain there a little bit. And you know what? We still don't have the Blood Grove, which is the card I need to increase the usefulness of the groves. But maybe we don't want to do that until our vampire villages are cleared out. Okay, we can start a second treasury. We're going to do that up here. We're going to place some more mountains and build some wheat fields. We may as well place a grove as well. Another meadow. We're going to hold that. Actually, you know what? We're going to complete this treasury as soon as we begin a new loop. And I'm going to keep it until we begin a new loop because, again, the enemy level, aka the loop we're on, is going to determine the level of loot we get from the treasury. Boom! There it is. So we've received a bunch of resources, we've received some items, and the exact item we need to encourage this build. We've now got a spear, which has implicit counter to it, and also damage to all. That's pretty good. Pretty good. You know what? We're gonna place a battlefield for that chest, get that nice loot. We'll put another village next to, or sorry, another wheat field next to our village, meaning we're now gonna get 60 HP here. Throw some meadows and the like down. Another grove. We'll hold on to all of this for now. You know what? I should mention, this Oblivion card is pretty useful. This allows us to demolish any group of enemies, any tile we've already placed, so it's pretty handy to have a couple of these, especially if you're looking to challenge the boss. And maybe we'll see that today, maybe we won't, who knows. I'm thinking that we'll probably wrap this video up pretty quickly because I feel as if we are really showing what the spirit of the game is and how things can become complex very quickly. And damn, we're gonna have to fight some more ghouls. We've got the counters, which has healed us. We're doing a little bit of damage to all. Man, this is not going extremely well. Are we sustaining? 316. Not really. See, we need to have like 40% counter. Okay, we're doing all right. We're doing all right. And we finally received the Blood Grove, which is the card I needed to upgrade all of these groves. So now, whenever I get an enemy within 15% of their health, they're going to be consumed like that by the grove. And if we do this enough, we're going to generate a big bad mini-boss. And that big bad mini-boss is going to be able to give us all sorts of fucking loot. And look at that, we've now got our second Chrono Crystal. We're going to place that here. Build another meadow, build another mountain. And shit, where are we at? Okay, we're in the groves. We're gonna fight some more rat dogs. Oh fuck, we actually popped a potion there, finally. These are recharged once you enter the camp tile. Yeah, you know what, we're not... What the fuck was that noise? Was that this? Living fabric? I don't know what that is. Okay, we need to find some items to increase our counter. You know what? 16% attack rate isn't a bad pick for the time being. Let's fight one more rat dog here. He's causing us to bleed, unfortunately. And boom, we have another battlefield. For the time being, I'm going to place these battlefields far apart. You could overlap their fields of influence, but then some wild shit happens, which I don't think we're quite ready for. You know, it's not that wild. You just spawn a different enemy. Let's complete our peak here. Okay, well that's not exactly where I wanted it to be built, but whatever, that works out. We're gonna head into Village 2, get some health back, and for the first time fight a living scarecrow. Wide swing. 30% of creatures' damage is dealt to everyone on the battlefield. Wow. Okay, so that's interesting. That's, again, harming his own allies. Some weird synergies going on. We can build a third treasury, which we will likely not be able to complete. So once we fight this last, you know, ooh, fuck, I don't know if we're going to be able to survive this last battle. I might have gone a little bit too hardcore on the old difficulty here. Where should we put this last crystal? Maybe up by the camp. Yeah, I might have gone too hardcore. We've only got 160 health going into this ghoul battle. Shit, we've just spawned some bats. Oh, fuck. Okay, we've only got 90 health going into this battle. Okay, you know what? We're gonna go fucking balls to the walls. And see if we survive. 150 health. We still have... Well, we don't have any potions, actually. My mistake. Oh my god, we just got health from the day. Can we counter? We've only got 30 health left. 1 health left. Oh fuck, we're dead. Okay. Well, unfortunately, the risk was too high. The reward was too tempting. And we're only gonna we're only gonna keep 30% of all resources found. Goodbye, craft fragment. Goodbye, pitiful remains. Goodbye, shapeless mass and living fabric. That's unfortunate. We've only retrieved 1/3 of all resources. Not a spectacular expedition, unfortunately. And you know what? I don't think we've even received enough resources to build any buildings. And we haven't received enough resources to upgrade anything either. So unfortunately, that was a total bust for me. But hey, at least for you, hopefully it was illustrative of how this game plays. Hopefully it was educational on how not to build a loop. I think we kind of fucked ourselves by placing that second ghoul village, but whatever, you live and you learn. Thank you everyone for watching. This has been Loop Hero. I hope that this has enticed you to buy this game and play it, because like I said, it is a lot of fun, and I've only scratched the surface. Like I say, I have only built these few buildings. I've only unlocked one additional class, which is the Rogue. I'm pretty sure if we build this crypt, we unlock the Necromancer as well. And you know what? I'm sure that this game is going to receive all sorts of DLC support in the future, much like Darkest Dungeon and the like. So I'm just really excited to see where this goes. Anyway, like I say, everyone, thank you for watching. My name is Incoherence, and I'm sure I will see you again. Goodbye.